Well, hello again, everybody. It's that time of the week. It's Thursday, which means the Thursday pregame show for regular football here in the National Football League, the Inside Blitz, week number 4. And Vinny Bonsignore joining us again from Las Vegas, second time in 4 weeks. Vinny, great to have you, man. And what the hell's going on with the Raiders right now?
Yeah, some growing pains, no doubt, for the Raiders and Pete Carroll. It doesn't happen overnight. This was a daunting task, taking over the Raiders without question. They're a 4-12 team last year, or excuse me, 4-13 team last year. And you go back and look at his history. His first USC team was 6-6. His first Seattle Seahawks team was 7-9, even though they won the division that year and actually beat the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs. There's a process here, and it wasn't going to be perfect, and there wasn't going to be without any hiccups, and certainly that was the case against the Washington Commanders on Sunday, and before that the Chargers. They hope to get back on the right track against the Bears on Sunday at Allegiant Stadium.
Well, from afar, I haven't watched every minute of your games, but it looks like the O-line has got a lot of work to do.
That is a fair assessment, without question. A couple of things. Number one, they made some changes to the offensive line coming into this year. Last year, the Raiders essentially ended the season with Jackson Powers-Johnson at center, Jordan Meredith at left guard, and Dylan Parham at right guard. The names are the same, but their positions are different. Jackson Powers-Johnson is now at right guard. Dylan Parham moved from right guard to left guard, and Jordan Meredith moved from left guard to center. So, and they've only had one game with that alignment together. Jackson Powers-Johnson played the opener, then suffered a concussion a couple of days before the Chargers game. So he missed the Chargers game and then last week's Commanders game. He's expected to be back in the lineup on Sunday against the Bears. So this will be another opportunity for them to, assess whether or not the vision that they had coming into the season with that alignment and making those changes was the right decision to make. And they're going to give it a little bit of time. Whatever they feel the necessary time is to decide whether or not that was the right move or not. And if it's not working in a month or so, you can expect some changes, but they're hoping that it will be working.
Right. I could tell everybody, too, that so far we have not had our regulars on every week. There's Ron and Chris still on IR, and Chris might be able to join us. That's a TBD as far as that is concerned. But let everybody know again, Vinny, what you do in Vegas, as you are one busy dude.
That's the way we like it, Ted. So I'm the beat writer for the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, or the easy way to look for me for Raider news is vegasnation.com. And then I also am the co-host for the Morning Tailgate show on Raider Nation Radio, 9:20 a.m. locally. It can also be streamed live at Raiders.com every day from 7 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday.
Okay. So let's first talk about your game with the Bears, with the Raiders and Bears, and then we'll get into what happened last week. It was a lack of special teams, or not very special in many ways. Block kicks all over the damn place. That was a really weird week. But what do the Bears bring to this game after, besides a ton of confidence, they finally woke up from an offensive standpoint? But do you really trust them?
Yeah, just the Raiders' luck. They're going to catch Caleb Williams and the Bears coming off their best game, and certainly his best game of his young career. I'm a big believer in Caleb Williams, so I think maybe he turned the corner slightly last week against the Dallas Cowboys. Now we have to keep in mind that it was the Cowboys and their defense isn't very good. Remember,
exactly.
they made Russell Wilson and the Giants look pretty darn good a couple of weeks before, and lo and behold, Russell Wilson has now been benched because it was bad the other two games, and they're going to go with Jackson Dart. So you have to keep that in perspective. But I would imagine, if you're Caleb Williams, I don't care who it came against. It could have been the Illinois defense. It was the Dallas Cowboys defense. You want to call it bad? All right, call it bad. I just had the best game of my career, and it's got to be something that he's going to try to build off of. So I'd be wary if I was the Raiders facing a hot quarterback and somebody that may be gaining confidence. In a new system, and they have some really good playmakers over there with the Bears. So it's going to be a handful for the Raiders defense. And I think for the Raiders themselves, first and foremost, they got to get their offensive line squared away because, it's been rough sledding for Ashton Genty, the young rookie running back from Boise State. And, he just hasn't had a lot of room to work with. And then Geno Smith, the Raiders quarterback, has been sacked 12 times. That's a four-way tie for the second most in the NFL, not where the Raiders want to be. So they have some gardening to do in their own yard, and obviously at the same time kind of worried about the Chicago Bears or concerned about the Chicago Bears, a hot team coming in here. And you got to figure, I know this for a fact, it's going to be a very heavy Bears contingency.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of parties planned around town, people flying in from Chicago to enjoy the fruits of Las Vegas and then go watch their team play on Sunday against the Raiders. So in some ways, the Raiders have to bounce back, not only, internally from within, but then facing a hot team in what could be somewhat hostile territory in their own stadium.
Yeah, one more thing about Geno. We know his career, and it's all over the place, a little roller coaster ride. Some of that is circumstantial, and other is himself in some decision making at time. But what do you think is the biggest issue with him thus far? Is it just the O-line? If that got straightened out, he'd be okay, or is it he's also done some Geno kind of things?
Well, he's actually been pretty darn good in two of the games.
Okay.
The Chargers game was just kind of a weird performance for him, 3 interceptions. He rarely has games like that. And he usually bounces back pretty quickly, which is what he did, at least for him. The team maybe not so much, but Geno had a good game against the Washington Commanders and was running for his life, to be honest with you, throughout. Had to make some real plays by extending the plays under major duress and made some really good plays. So he'd probably, if you're looking at least concerns, I would imagine that he's probably their least concern and has actually played good in 2 of the 3 games. It's really the offensive line. Last week it was special teams. Another could be an anomaly because the special teams around here has been pretty darn good for the last few years. So it could have just been a bad day at the office. And then thirdly, the defense just had a lot of trouble tackling Sunday against the Commanders. Pete Carroll kind of took that one on his shoulders. They were coming off a short week after playing the Chargers on Monday night, having to make the trip back east to play the Washington Commanders. And on top of that, the Commanders hadn't played since the Thursday before against the Green Bay Packers. So it's 10 days off for the Commanders, a short week for the Raiders. So what did Pete Carroll do to try to mitigate that? Was he didn't practice physically throughout that short work week. It was a lot of above the shoulders practicing. And I think he sensed early on in that game against the Commanders that the Raiders lost their edge, probably, or maybe due to the way they worked on that short week. So
a little maybe sluggish, would you say?
Very much sluggish. And the physicality that they had played with through those first 2 games just was, not there. And it may have explained why they had trouble tackling, why they, were out muscled, by Washington. And I could already tell you at yesterday's practice, the portion that we got a chance to see, it was high energy in pads. And I feel like, Pete was making sure that they got after it this week in practice. They'll continue to do that today and then tomorrow to try to get that edge back. Okay.
I was at the Chargers Denver game on Sunday, and we'll talk about that in a minute because I have a few guests to bring on here, including Keenan Allen, who had a huge touchdown catch late in that game, and Derwin James and the kicker, Cameron Dicker, the kicker, who got the winner. In the meantime, there's a kicker for the Rams who had a fantastic game. He was ready to be the player of the game, and he got 2 blocked. Did you see much of that at all? And what the hell happened to my buddy Josh Carty, who was on our show last week?
Yeah, we were actually, when we were in Washington, the Raiders game was kind of wrapping up just before the Eagles-Rams game was wrapping up. So we were right outside the Raiders locker room, ready for them to come off the field. And we're all hovering around. Somebody had the game on their iPhone or their smartphone. And, we just thought that, okay, the Rams had control of it, lost control of it. And now they were going to win on a game-winning kick, only for it to get blocked and go the other way. And, I work around some people that work here in Las Vegas. So you can only imagine how the lens that they sometimes look at these games.
I know the lens they look at them, and I'm sure their heads were spinning in Vegas on that.
Yes, some for the right reason or for good reasons, some for not so good reasons, depending on which side of the aisle you were on in that regard. It's to this day, Ted, and I've been here about 5 years. It's really fascinating for me to watch and to just observe the lens that people absorb sports in around here. It's pretty prevalent, as you would imagine. It is Las Vegas, but that was cause for a little bit of distress and maybe a little bit of happiness from some people that were I was hovering around that phone with.
Well, I'm hoping to talk to Josh after the game this Sunday, but I want to figure out, okay, did he kick it too low twice? This guy Davis looks like he's 40 feet tall with arms that go forever. Looks he could dunk without jumping, it looks like. How much of that is the overall factor of those two blocks? Same guy.
Yeah, and really, when we think about it, we got to put that into a little bit of context as well. I think there were 5 blocked kicks on Sunday. There were returns, left and right, including a 90-yard punt return against the Raiders and a 69-yard kickoff return against the Raiders. So, it was just one of those weird. I don't remember a special teams day that was quite that special across the league, including the multiple blocked kicks. But I will say this. Talking to special teams coaches, especially, they've obviously done some tinkering with the special teams rules. And this year in particular, where they almost mandated that people kick off, that teams actually kick off and allow returners to return it, because the damage is so severe when you kick it into the end zone, like they had been in the last few years, and setting the other team up either at the 25 or the 30. Well, they moved that thing over up to the 35 if you do that, which all statistics show it gives the offense such an advantage. So teams are really hesitant to do that. So now they're kicking it off and hoping that they can knock people down before the 35-yard line. But it's opened the door for so many returns, and if you don't have your P's and Q's down as a kick coverage team, you could get burned. I saw that firsthand against the Commanders with the Raiders, and I think, long way of saying, I think that's really invigorated special teams as a whole. I think the special is back in special teams now, and so as a result, I think everybody's kind of fired up and understanding how big of a portion that part of the game plays on a game. And we saw that all the way through, from punt returns, kickoff returns, right on down to blocking kicks, which we have not normally seen as well. So I'm just wondering if there's just a little bit more oomph going into the special teams this year, from the preparation standpoint and the film standpoint, and the understanding of how many big plays you can make, and game deciding plays, to be honest with you, you can make now in special teams.
Yeah, well, look at the reach of this number 90 there, right in the middle of the line. I mean, it looks like anybody's kick would have been blocked, but I don't know. I mean, I really won't know until I ask Cardi.
Yeah. Yeah, and it looks like that was and he just basically, played right into his hands, or I guess in this case, kicked right into his hands right there. But it's an imposing picture there, because what are you going to do? And you can't at that late part of the game for the kicker adjust. You got to just do what you do, and they've scouted it. They knew it. They know exactly where his trajectory is and basically where he puts it. For maximum results if you're trying to block it. So very well scouted by the Philadelphia Eagles and very well executed by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, and speaking of excellent, I thought the pass of the week happened to be where I was at, the Chargers Broncos, and Justin Herbert's pass for a touchdown to Keenan Allen in the fourth quarter. That is as good as it gets. This guy's face was blocked by a hand, inches away from him. He had no leverage. He threw it almost sidearm underneath the defender's arm. And here's another angle on that. It's just an unbelievable pass. And he had a small window to find Keenan Allen in the end zone, and he was there. Did you see this, or did you get a chance to look at it a few times? Because it really was spectacular.
Yeah, I did, and well played on all sides, really, including the defense. You can't really do much more than the defender did, but it was just the perfect pass and a fantastic catch by Keenan Allen, and that's low key, sneaky, been a huge move for the Chargers, bringing back their former star who spent last year, obviously, in Chicago.
Yeah.
Maybe the last couple of years I lost track, but anyway, he's back with the Chargers and making a really big impact as a wide receiver that seems to have found new life back home in Los Angeles.
So I got some time with Keenan after the game on Sunday during the scrum that we had, and he was in a pretty damn good mood, understandably. That's for sure.
That touchdown, just an unbelievable throw by Justin, and then your third of the year, 3 straight games.
Yeah, I was just on the phone doing another interview, and he told me, well, he asked me, did I see Herbo, escape the pocket and throw the ball? I'm like, nah, was it nasty? He said, yeah, it was pretty nasty. So, whatever he did, and by the time I turned around and seen him, he was already running, and I did a spin myself, tried to get to the back pylon, and, he just threw it up, gave me a chance one-on-one with the other guy, and, I was able to come down with it.
The body angle on that throw from him, does that ever amaze you?
The launch angle. That's a good word on this one.
He literally threw the ball like where my neck is, and his body was facing this way.
Yeah, that's 10. That's 10. That's what he does. He's a guy that can make any throw, in any way possible, and he can escape the pocket and make it, to that point to get to that throw. So, hats off to Herbo. He's the guy. So.
You had 1 catch, 3 targets in the first half. Mm-hmm. Did you guys talk at all at halftime? Say, "Hey, get me the damn ball."
No, I just felt like it just wasn't happening. I felt like he was throwing it to me. It just wasn't. I just wasn't, for whatever reason. We just wasn't, completing the pass. But I just kept telling myself, just stay in the game. Don't get frustrated. Just keep fighting, keep going, and when it's time, show up.
How much of that was their D though in the first half, and you learned something?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hats off to them. Tip balls, D-line getting in, pressure. So yeah, they played a great game.
We've asked Derwin about you the last couple of weeks. What can you say about Derwin James' performance on defense today?
Savage. Savage. Just doing what he does. DJ's been that way ever since he came into the league, since he was a rookie. And, we expect nothing less. He expects nothing less. And, when he wakes up in the morning, as soon as you see him, he's already on go. He's already ready to win the game. He's already ready to go make plays. So, I expect him to do nothing less than that. And, it's just great to see sacks, TFLs, big hits, talking, he doing what he do, so it's great to see.
It's not often the first 3 weeks of a schedule means so much from a divisional standpoint, but this is just huge.
1,000%. 3 division wins, like you said, 3-0. It's a great start, great start to the season. We just got to keep building. Don't get too complacent. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. And, day by day.
Doesn't matter how you do it, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Thanks.
All right, so that's Keenan Allen. A great answer from Chargers safety Tony Jefferson when we asked him about that great pass.
If I was that defender, I'd be like, how? Like, damn it. The defender was in great coverage. It's not really much that a defender can do besides maybe get his head around. But it's hard in those plaster situations at the back end of the end zone, turning around, you might lose him. So shout out to Keenan, bro, just being a playmaker, just being who he is, and then Herbert having the trust and connection with him to be able to just let it go and give it to him in that situation. Because that's not really he wasn't open technically, but Herbert threw him open. I've been impressed with Herbert since I got here. I had my scouting eyes on when he first got here. Dude's like 6'6", just freaking launching the ball, accurate as hell. And his ability to just escape in the pocket, being that big and then running, you don't get the opportunity to have a quarterback like that often, and I'm glad he's on my team.
Okay, so the Chargers are now becoming Jim Harbaugh's team in his second season, right? But they lose the guy that they wanted to have as their key running back in Najee Harris. He's done for the year with an Achilles. So how do they adjust here? They have to somehow, because so far the rookie running back is not doing it.
Yeah, well, it's early, and
I know. I'm just saying you can't rely on it.
I would imagine, now that obviously his stage has got a whole lot bigger, and his responsibilities got a whole lot bigger, and he's going to get more touches as a result. Good offensive line. He's learning his way, but I would imagine the Omarion Hampton that we're seeing 3 weeks into the season is not the one we're going to be seeing in about a month or so.
They hope.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to build that thing up, and Jim always does a great job doing that. And he'll get in sync with that offensive line, and obviously he's He's got a great quarterback that he's playing in conjunction with that can help him, because teams are going to be defending the pass, obviously, as you should, against Justin Herbert and the Chargers, which will open things up for Omarion Hampton. And the more he gets comfortable in this offense, I think the better off he's going to be. And to me, that was going to be the case whether Najee was on the field or not. I felt like
only a matter of time until Hampton gets his chance.
Yeah. Now they may have shared it a little bit during his rookie year, but eventually he was gonna be the guy, and that just has to happen a little bit sooner than maybe they had anticipated. But I think he's up for the challenge, and for me it'll be interesting to see. I think the Raiders play the Chargers on November 30th, so a little bit of a ways away, but it'll be interesting to see what version of that running game and that running back is there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, because we're talking about Hampton and running backs, before we get to Keenan Allen and Cameron Dicker, your thoughts on so far, running game has not been great throughout the league. The average is way down as far as rush yards per game. It's not even close. Now it's early, but do you think there's any specific thing that stands out? Why?
I think teams also understand, defenses also understand that football's funny. It goes in, different directions, and, what was hot last year may not be hot this year. And one of the reasons why is because you've got these really smart defensive coordinators and all their analytics people and everybody else crunching all the numbers and figuring out, better ways to defend teams and what's been the trouble spot. And so when defensive coordinators see that the run numbers are up, it's their job then to figure out how do you bring that back down. And so schematically devoting bodies to it, how you align, all of those things that they spend all off season deciphering. It feels to me like that pendulum has swung a little bit in the defense's favor right now. And now it's going to be on the offense to make the adjustment. One of the ways they could do it is by throwing it more, throw them out of that type of a defensive look by making them pay for devoting an extra body or their alignment to stopping the run. There's always that give and take. And right now, 3 weeks into a season, it feels like, that's where that pendulum is swung. I would also say that one of the things we always measure offensive lines a lot of times on pass protection and sacks and things like that. And we sometimes overlook the importance of a good offensive line and a cohesive offensive line in run blocking.
Right.
And oftentimes offensive lines are not the slowest to get on track, but because it's a 5-man unit, and because they don't practice the way they used to practice, it's not as physical as it once was. You're in shorts and, a lot during practice. There's a limited amount of, padded practices. It takes a little while for the offensive lines to come around. And again, we always focus on the pass protection. We kind of forget the cohesiveness and the intricacies and the physicality that's needed to run block as well. So maybe we're at a stage of the season right now where the defensive lines are a little bit ahead of the offensive lines when it comes to that part of the game. I mentioned the November 30th. I'd be interested if I come on your show that week or around there, where those running numbers are at that point.
Very interesting there. Meanwhile, very nice of Keenan Allen to get AFC Defensive Player of the Week, as we got him one-on-one before. He was just spectacular the other day from Keenan.
You take us through that touchdown. Just an unbelievable throw by Justin, and then your third of the year, 3 straight games.
Yeah, I was just on the phone doing another interview, and he told me, he asked me, did I see Herbo,
you know what? I'm sorry, that's Keenan Allen, and I meant Derwin James.
You got to trick us, hurry us up. Like, we got to just be better on our part. We know we're a tough defense to play against, and we'll be ready, man. I have all the confidence in the world in these guys. We're going to clean up little mistakes, and we'll be ready for New York, man. It was exciting.
Very little.
It's early as it is. I'm concerned, though, with the injuries. 2 real key guys,
Man, we are sorry that our guys are out, man. We're praying that they get back healthy. But, man, this team is resilient. We have no lie when I tell you we have 20 guys that can play on defense. And I'm not saying that. I really mean that. And when everybody numbers call, they step up, they make plays, and that's why you see no drop-off.
Record or not, does it feel a little different this year, like everybody's on a new same page?
Yes, sir. I just having that confidence. Nobody's worried, like, oh, my God, who's going to make Nobody's forcing anything, and it feels good to have team complementary football. Offense, they picked us up. Defense, we picked them up. Special teams picked everybody up. Complete team win.
Quick comment on the 3-0 start. It's unbelievable in the division, isn't it?
It's amazing. It hasn't been done since 2002. I think we ain't been since 3-0. So, man, we just want to keep stacking it and turn the worm.
Yeah, but stacking it in the division, I mean, that's like worth 6-0 right now almost, right, when you think about it.
Yes, sir. They +2, man. You win your division. Get you in the playoffs, baby.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So keep stacking them.
No such thing as an ugly win, right?
Yeah, hello. There's no such thing. Good teams find a way.
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, so that's Derwin James, AFC Defensive Player of the Week. And you talk about a leader, Vinny. I mean, this guy is really something special. And somebody that Harbaugh talked about, like, I think the first day of practice last season, said, that's the guy. I mean, it's so obvious it's not even funny, right?
Yeah. By the way, shout out to Tom Telesco. You're talking about 3 players, and Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, and Derwin James, who were drafted under Tom's watch. He had an eye for talent, and obviously some of the players that he drafted continue to shine. Derwin James being one of them, one of the best safeties in the NFL. There's a guy over in Baltimore who's pretty darn good as well. But Derwin is every bit as good. Right. Playing for the Chargers, sometimes, you get overlooked a little bit out here on the West Coast, and a team that may not have the national allure and pull that some other teams have. But Derwin James has been playing some top-notch football for many years, and he has not missed a beat this year.
Yeah, and they're doing it now without Khalil Mack, and he's not going to be back anytime real soon, and makes it even more impressive.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I know the way Jim Harbaugh operates and that whole staff operates. Khalil Mack's down, that sucks. Time for the next player up, and everyone else to kind of not necessarily do a little bit more, but be a little bit more focused, and knowing that you don't have a big star like Khalil out there, but they haven't missed a beat in that regard as well.
Yep. All right, let's hear from the kicker, Cameron Dicker of the Chargers.
It's huge. I mean, it's obviously a big moment, but like I was saying, I mean, for me, it's another kick, so it's tough. I think it'll hit me probably tomorrow, and that'll be exciting. But right now, it's just, hey, you just keep rolling.
How would you describe what the last 2.5 weeks have been like for this team? Win 3 straight division games, and sometimes they're going to be like this. It's not going to be pretty, and sometimes you have to gut it out like today.
Yeah, I think guys are having fun at the end of the day. I think what we do, it's a kids' game, and so we have a lot of fun doing it. I think guys are reminded of that throughout the week, and then just enjoying time with each other. We're having a lot of fun with each other as a group, and so making sure you love the guy next to you so you'll work that a little bit harder.
It's not often any team starts off 3-0 in division. I mean, this is huge, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, every win in the division is like a loss for them as well, so it's
exactly.
two wins basically for us.
Are you feeling it? It's like you can't do any better than this.
No, it's great. I think it's a great feeling. I think there's obviously things people would want back and plays throughout everything, but everybody's ready to go for sure.
What is Harbaugh, in a way, is he different this year than last year from just an overall confidence standpoint?
I wouldn't say he's that different. I think he's the same guy almost every day. He strives to be, and he tries to put that out there for us. And so I would say it's just like we got a couple new pieces, and we got guys around us that everybody's more connected and ready to go. So this team's just ready to get after it. Some
injuries, though, really concern right now, though. Some key guys, right? It's a long season.
It's part of football, though. Everybody knows what they're signing up for. It's a bummer when guys go down, but it's one of those things where the next guy has to be ready to come up and prove why he's here. Everybody's in the NFL for a reason, so go show it.
And what about your personal confidence? Like, you're almost you actually are automatic when it's 40 or below, and you know that record here. You've never missed.
Yeah, so it's nice. I have no clue how far that field goal was. not a single clue.
Could care less too, probably, right?
No, I know it was either a 3 or an 8 yard line. I'm pretty sure.
I love it. That's great.
That's about it. Yeah.
And one more thing on the kickoffs here. Okay, I had some good chats with Josh Carty with the Rams. How are you feeling things are evolving for your team kicking off because of where you want to place the ball?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Obviously, I think you're going to continue to see change in it until they figure out exactly how it's done. I don't think we've figured it out fully as a league yet, but I think it's getting there.
What have you figured out, though, in the first few weeks?
Our guys just got to cover, and they're ready for it.
Okay.
We saw it at the end of the game there. They tackled them, I think, inside the 25. I know it was inside the 30 for sure, and so dudes are ready to go eat, and I got to keep the ball in play to let them do it.
Good to see you, man.
Awesome. Thank you.
I love that that line. The guys are ready to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the kicker's job to make sure that they're able to do that. That sounds kind of funny, but it's the truth of the matter. You don't want to kick it out of bounds. You don't want to kick it out of the end zone because that puts the ball at the 35. Yeah. And those cover guys are the impacts that those guys can make, making sure that it doesn't get to the 35 for sure. Doesn't even get to the 30, and sometimes you want to keep it within that 20-yard range. It's hard to do, but there's teams that are figuring out ways to do it, and a lot of it comes down to tenacity, scheming, guys being disciplined and staying in their lanes. We saw that for the Raiders. Guys got out of their lanes, and it led to big plays. So I'm really fired up for the special teams this year because it's really, and I give the NFL credit for tinkering with it and kind of figuring it out. But the kickoff is back. Period! Exclamation point! And you can have just as much of an impact returning it as you can stopping it.
And unless there's tons of injuries, it really should stay here.
Yeah, and right, exactly. And through all the statistics that the NFL has done with that, most of your issues were between the blockers and the coverage guys, the major collisions that they would have running full speed at each other for over a large part of the field, 20 yards or however long it was. And those were the collisions that were leading to most of the concussions. So they've mitigated that by condensing the field in which they're going to be, the space in between the blockers and the tacklers. So,
but it's still hard to actually watch the defensive line trying to attack. Just they're frozen until they're not, and it's like, wait a minute, it looks more like rugby.
Right, exactly. And there's Coach Fossil Bones was a big part of figuring out this actual alignment and way to do it, and he and a couple other special teams coaches were the ones that really were the driving force behind devising it. And I know it looked kooky and crazy, and it still kind of does, a little shock to the system, but it's working, and I know they're fired up about it. I know, talking to Coach Fossil, when this rule was passed 2 years ago, they actually wanted to do it to the 35-yard line a couple of years ago, but owners were like, that's a little too much. Let's put it at the 30. That didn't work, so now they're at the 35. But I could tell you, Bones was fired up. Every special teams coach out here is fired up about being able to put their imprints on games schematically. So it's really cool on a lot of different ends.
Okay, last several minutes we got left here because Vinny's got to go talk to the coaches of the Raiders and some players in the room. We got a game tonight, and you have any thoughts on that at all? You got Seattle and Arizona, and the Cardinals haven't won a home game against the Seahawks since you were like 12 years old.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been that long, but I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks in this game. I think the Cardinals are still trying to figure out things offensively, and so I'm leaning toward the Seahawks.
Okay, not the greatest matchup at all. This is the first average matchup on a Thursday night we've had this year, so we get spoiled.
Which now is going to turn out to be the game of the year.
No, but that sounded good for a second.
We hope.
Yeah, exactly. We have a game in Europe, first time in Dublin, right? Minnesota, Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers is going to show off his gray beard across the pond. What are your thoughts on that game? Minnesota has allowed 12 sacks so far.
Yeah, and they also sacked. They also played some pretty darn good defense as well. So, Aaron Rodgers better load up on some pints in Ireland because I think Brian Flores and the Vikings defense has some special things up their sleeve for him. And trust me when I say this, the Vikings never forget who Aaron Rodgers really is and the team that he really represents for so many years. So there would be no love lost on that field
in Dublin,
and, whether he's wearing a Steelers uniform or Jet
Packer
uniform
green
or the Packer uniform.
We lost Vinny for a split. We lost you for a second. You're back, right?
Okay, yeah. I know that the Vikings want to make that trip for Aaron Rodgers. as not pleasurable as possible. So I think the Vikings are going to win that game.
How about Green Bay at Dallas? An interesting game there. It's always been sort of a rivalry game going back to the Ice Bowl days, but it's still a matter of, does Dallas have any defense at all? And Micah Parsons is now coming home. That's going to be a fascinating return.
Yeah, if they can kidnap him and get him back onto their side, maybe they'd have a chance defensively, but that's not happening. Yeah, they've really struggled out of the gate. It's kind of a, right. It's right in Jerry Jones's face. Like, you just traded away your best player, one of the league's best defensive players, and you're feeling the pain of that. I know that their payoff is down the road with, a couple of first round picks and all that.
Oh, we lost him again. We got a little bit of a Wi-Fi issue apparently here, and don't know what exactly is going on. I can tell you that the Cowboys have 4 sacks in 3 games without Micah Parsons, and that is not very helpful at all. And CeeDee Lamb out 3 to 4 weeks with that high ankle sprain, so that's going to hurt their cause big time for sure. You got 3-0 Indy here in Los Angeles against the Rams, and the question is, are the Colts really that good? Well, it's highly questionable for sure. Lost the internet. I just got a message from Vinny, so I might end up doing this show without him. I'm going to text him right now that just hang in there, buddy, whatever you got. Bottom line is, I think the Rams are an outstanding team on both offense and defense, and I think Indianapolis has got a lot to prove, even though their roster is much improved, and Danny Dimes is doing a hell of a job. He is not making mistakes, so good for him. How long that's going to last, good luck. The O-line is a huge part of that, no doubt about it, and I'm really looking forward to that game. One of the things that I look forward to in this one is to see how the Rams special teams bounces back after just an awful game. As we know, the end of that game cost them everything at Philadelphia this last weekend. Phillies at Tampa Bay. It's the first meeting of 3-0 teams in the league in 4 years, and I want to see how Baker does at home against this Eagles defense. As right now, the Eagles are not that impressive, but they're finding a way to get the W's, and that's all that matters. And the Jets and the Dolphins are 0-3 teams. And the bottom line there is somebody has to win, or does it end up in a tie? I don't have any interest in watching any of that game whatsoever for sure. We mentioned earlier Jackson Dart is getting his first start for the New York Giants this week. I'm not so sure that's the right move, but I guess it really doesn't matter at this point because the Giants have to figure out what they're going to do for the rest of this season. And do they need another quarterback when there should be a few more in the first round next year? So we'll look forward to that as well. And the Chargers 3-0 for the first time in 23 years. And they are on the road at the Giants. Excuse me. And I really, really want to see how they can just find a way to get a W out against the team that obviously is average at best. But are the Chargers willing to go 3,000 miles and still stay up for a game in a game that they're favored and should be? That's going to be fascinating to watch. And you got Kansas City avoiding their 0-3 start. I want to see how they bounce back as well this week because I don't think they're that bad, but they also don't have all their best players. So it looks like we're a few weeks away from the Chiefs getting as healthy as they need to be to see exactly how good they will be as well. Unfortunately, we were not able to get Las Vegas Chris this week. He is just swamped doing things, but he did do a show with Ron yesterday, and it's good to see that Ron's getting closer to returning. We will have Gamble Lou with us next Thursday. He'll be joining the show, and hopefully Ron will be back in 2 weeks, and we can continue on with the normal Inside Blitz for the rest of the year. In the meantime, I will have a very special show. If you're into hockey and you love old-time hockey, today is the day. 3 o'clock Pacific time, right here on my Touching Greatness YouTube channel. It will be the 80th birthday celebration of former Kings and Montreal Canadiens Hall of Fame goaltender Rogie Vachon, and we have some special surprises for him. I'm going to have some guests coming on that is going to make his eyeballs bounce all over the place. He is now living in Montana. in a nice retired life with his son, Nick Vachon, who used to be my color man in the International Hockey League here with the Long Beach Ice Dogs. And Nick's going to join us for a little bit of that as well. But again, some great surprises for Rogie Vachon. That's 3:00 today. You can find it right here on my Touching Greatness YouTube channel. Just go to the live section and click on that, and you will have one hell of an hour for sure. Again, so for Vinny, we appreciate him joining us. He's already probably off to the locker room in Raiders land. He'll be talking to Chip Kelly very shortly, the offensive coordinator for Las Vegas. And for Ron and Chris, and hopefully we'll see them soon, I'm Ted here in LA. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Enjoy week number 4. It's going to be another good one in the National Football League.